Tonight's forecast is sponsored by Ashbrook Audiology, where relationships matter.
Happy Thursday to you, everybody. I hope you're doing well and managing to stay dry out there. We have seen a lot of rain throughout this morning and through the afternoon too, and it does look like to appear that rain will start to subside as we head towards the overnight evening hours. So far, rain estimates have been between about a quarter to roughly half an inch, depending on where you are. Some areas are getting a lot more of that heavier rain as there's some heavy bands mixed in with the storm system that's moving through our area. And of course, as I told you, it's been one of these weird weeks where you get like a break. One day in the rain, it's warm, and then it's cold, and then it's warm, and now it's chilly today. And that's just been one of this theme this week has been all over the place. But again, we did see some sunshine. If you're able to please enjoy yesterday, it does appear that we're not going to be warming up much for the rest of the evening, of course, so we see that rain kind of be off and on. We'll talk more about the weekend forecast, let you know there is some light at the end of the tunnel with some sunshine coming back in. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes, but I do want to talk about something that's been maybe a little bit of chatter. We told you about this earlier in the week, that we may see a little bit of some possibilities of some winter weather. And, I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it again. Basically, there's weather data. There's weather balloons that get sent in the atmosphere that triggers data, and it gets confined back to what the sensors are on them. So this is what the balloons look like. And of course, they're lifted up about sometimes 2-3 times a day, depending on where and what is coming our direction. And you see here the data is recorded. So there's a thermometer, there's a hygrometer, there's an anemometer, there's a few other instruments on that weather balloon, of course. And then once it's released back in the atmosphere, it's then put to these computer models. You've heard me talk about these a number of occasions over the last several weeks and even the past couple of years. The European model, the North America model, and the global forecasting system. Of course, there's also the HRR model, the HRR model, and there's the graph and IBM. All these models put together, they pretty much have a circulation and a pattern that confines what they predict will happen. And so sometimes they're not actual set in stone forecasts. They're just a matter of what is coming in the direction. So like I said, there's a possibility of a southern slider that's coming through this weekend. Right now, I'm not foreseeing a lot of precipitation with this storm coming through because the moisture will be a little bit just too far to our south. And of course, if anything was to occur, it would occur right along the Carolina-Virginia border. But again, right now, that's not looking likely at this point in time. Something I do want to reiterate one more again, the burn ban does continue. So just please keep this in mind. That includes, any open grassland, dry fields, brush. Just keep in mind, if you're going to do any burning, do it after 4. Obviously, now that the ground has been a little saturated, you shouldn't be having these extraordinary, crazy fires that will be occurring. However, though, the only factor with this, if there's dry air and it's warm and it's been windy for several days, you're likely going to have some type of effect of a burn issue in with that. So just do keep that in mind as you're maybe trying to do some leaf burning or something of that nature. Now, obviously, grills are not included in this burn ban. So if you do want to grill outside, even you're allowed to do so. So those open grills are allowed during this time. So just keep that in mind. But obviously, as you know, the temperatures are all over the place. So maybe if you were doing some grilling yesterday, it would have been a perfect day to do that because we had enough saturation in the air and the atmosphere wasn't too terribly dry. Also, again, if you don't follow the law, you're going to be charged with a third-class misdemeanor and then a $500 fine. So once again, sometimes we've heard the expression, money does not grow on trees. So again, if you're unable to do that, please burn after 4. After 4 p.m. is the cutoff line. I do want to begin here for our overnight temperatures, if I can find those here for you. It appears I do not have those in with me. So pretty much for the rest of the overnight, temperatures are going to be staying in the mid 40s with that rain continuing off and on through the remaining of the evening. So it appears my computer system has kicked that graphic out of here. Don't you love technology at its finest? Sometimes that's live TV for you folks. Anyway, so tomorrow we'll begin to see the rain exit early in the morning. If you do see some leftover showers, just keep in mind that, some of these area back roadways, if you pick up more heavy rain, remember to obviously do be careful. And, we're not talking about a massive flood event here by no means, but of course, it doesn't take a lot of your chances to see how deep some of these puddles can be. So just keep that in mind. 52 Medicine. It's going to be windy for the entire area tomorrow. So very chilly. Some of these mountain locations along, we've got Medicine there. Then you have Ararat. There's directions of Claudeville. Very chilly with the wind chill blowing up there. 59 Ferrum, 63 Stewart. Martinsville's coming in at 65, the big hot spot. I will say we're warm temperatures there, 60 there outside of Ferrum and Rocky Mount. So they'll just keep that in mind as you're making some plans to be out and about. For the entire area, it's going to be breezy. Northwest winds between 10 and 25 miles per hour is also expected with this tomorrow. So just keep that in mind as you're making some plans to be out and about. Again, like I said, this is the Martinsville-Henry County area. Most likely going to see those mild temperatures continue to take about with those winds out of the northwest bound at 10 to 20 to even 25 miles per hour as you're doing so as well. Here's your extended forecast as you're making some plans for the weekend. Like I did say, light is at the end of the tunnel. We'll talk about Saturday one more time, but again, Sunday and Monday, double nickels, 55. They're a mix of sun and clouds. Overnight lows are back to where they should be for this time. We should not be seeing lows in the 50s and the 60s. So, by the way, we're going back a couple of years ago. We had temperatures in the mid 70s about this time. That was back in 2017. And then, of course, on top of that, there was also a tornado outbreak that occurred outside of Appomattox County. Those folks up towards Lynchburg, and there's another community up there. I can't think of the name of it, but they also saw some tornado damage. That was about 3 years ago up in that general direction. And of course, we didn't see much of the tornado threat, but it was very warm and humid. And again, Saturday right now is looking to be, like I said, that possible southern slider was expected to occur. Right now, if you do get anything, most likely you're going to get a very light sprinkle and or maybe a snowflake mixed in, if and at anything at all. But right now, the confidence for any wintry weather this weekend is not looking that great. So once again, you don't have to worry about bringing the snow shovel and hoarding all the milk and bread for Saturday. It's just going to be variably cloudy, maybe breaks in sunshine, but most of the areas will remain cloudy and cool. And like I said, the sunshine does make an appearance for both Sunday and Monday. We'll get back to normal temperatures as we do wrap up the month of February. Now, I want to begin with the precipitation chances here. As you kind of can see that the much of the U.S. it's going to be wet. As you see where we kind of are, we're actually going to a dry spell as we head towards this upcoming next couple of weeks. There's not much precipitation expected. However, though, we will see a few rain events here or there, but nothing like like we saw earlier this week. That's going to be the theme here as we head towards the next couple of weeks. Again, the folks at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration does release these maps weekly, and they're always updating them as well. Of course, the possibility for some heavier precipitation does remain out and far to the western states, and so just keep that in mind while we remain dry and mild. And let's get you now to the end of the temperature outlook for the rest of the next month that goes out until next week and go into early March. Again, well below average temperatures for much of the Pacific Northwest and going up to the central heartland states, where, by the way, folks, if you follow meteorologists out there, I mean, I do, some of those news stations, and if you have folks out there, they have had a very harsh winter between here. By the way, Texas saw some sleet and some ice conditions overnight. It's picked up about 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of sleet down there in Texas, Kansas and Oklahoma, as well as Nebraska, Arkansas, Missouri. This area has been consistently hit with wave after wave after wave of precipitation, whether if it's rain or snow. Most of it has been wet weather and wintry weather, I guess to try to say with that. They had the potential. There was a severe weather threat earlier this week already down towards the mid-south and the deep south too. They've seen a lot of those heavy high winds. Most of that severe weather has been staying well to the south of our area, of course, enhancing warmer weather. Meanwhile, the entire East Coast and the Mid-Atlantic states seeing well above average temperatures towards Georgia, South Carolina, Florida. Meanwhile, we're going to remain just at or just near average for the next several weeks. So that doesn't mean we're going to get cold. Doesn't mean we're going to remain very hot. But again, that could, typically meaning get back to our average highs. We do welcome in March. On Tuesday, we're saying goodbye to February, just like that, within a blink of an eye. We're already starting the third month of the year. So I'll leave you with this because it's nice and warm, but also keep in mind that that rain will continue off and on tonight. That will continue to persist through the early morning hours. We'll begin to see maybe a few areas of patchy fog. And then again, the sunshine will come out by mid to late morning on your Friday. And again, it does appear that we'll see that no precipitation expected this weekend, mostly cloudy skies on your Saturday. And then again, the sunshine and the mix of sun and clouds just return for Sunday and going in to next week. So a nice setup is sort of back in the making again. As are we in the transition for spring? Could we have a surprise winter weather? Time will tell, but again, that March, as you know, is a transition month from winter going into spring. All right, that's enough of my time here for you. I do appreciate you very much. Thanks so much for taking us out here on BTW21. And also, you can find me on Staples Weather. That's both Instagram and on Facebook. I'm always posting some weather information out there. If you can't catch the newscast live, always go back and watch it. We have been posting that daily on our Facebook page at BTW21. So you can go back and check that out. For our folks at Chapman Cable and Martinsville and all of our surrounding communities, we thank you so very much for spending part of your day and your weekend with us. So now what we're going to do is take a quick commercial break, and I'm going to let Luis take control after I step off here. We thank you so very much, and I will see you next week as we wrap up the month of February.
Your BTW21 weather forecast is sponsored by Zentmeyer Chiropractic.